Hello everyone, we're honored to have Dr. Menas Kafatos as our guest today. Menas is an American physicist of Greek descent and a writer on spirituality and science. Menas Kafatos has written and lectured extensively, promoting discourse between science, spirituality, and religion. He has held numerous positions at institutions including Chapman University, George Mason University, and NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. Among his many popular publications include The Non-Local Universe, The Conscious Universe, and his latest publication includes co-author of You Are the Universe by Deepak Chopra. We're very happy to have you, and it is such an honor to converse with you. You offer a plethora of information for viewers, and on topics that are very much something that concerns us in general.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You are a Greek from Crete. Let's begin with your background.
So I'm Greek from Crete. I was born in Crete. I came here to study physics at Cornell University first, and then to MIT, and stay here. But I never stopped my relationship with Greece and Crete in particular. But yeah, so it continues. Yeah.
Growing up, who was your inspiration?
Human beings. The inspiration was actually. It was immediate family. It was my uncle and my father first of all, and my mother, of course, and then my uncle, my first uncle from my mother's side, who was a mathematician, so I sort of follow his lead into mathematics. And of course my father had already been to this country as an immigrant. My mother had not, but she was very supportive, so here we are.
And any of the ancient great forefathers that you might have studied that might have influenced you?
Always Plato first, and of course through Plato, Socrates, and then Aristotle. Those would be three favorite ones. And as I study more and more the ancient philosophers, I got more into Heraclitus, Archimedes, a great mathematician, and the Ionian philosophers, etc., yeah.
You've become also a spiritual and religious thinker through your books, and you're combining this with science, as Aristotle did, yes, and the many other greats. And recently, you have been titled as the New Age scientist.
Yeah, the New Age sometimes has a different connotation, but I would say it's the new science.
The new science.
The new science. I would say it's the new science of what we call qualia, the science of experience, direct experience. Mm-hmm. And this is really what we have been developing. The Conscious Universe, which was written back in 1991 with Robert Nadeau, who was actually a historian of science. We explore the idea that the universe itself is conscious, and in this latest book with Deepak Chopra, You Are the Universe, we're actually saying you as a human being, as an individual, you are really the universe.
How is it that you offer information in a more simplistic way?
So simplistic doesn't mean simple-minded, it just means really getting to the level of the everyday person. And if you like, one of my tasks being a scientist is to communicate the science, the exciting science we have, to the general public. Otherwise, science is another burden, it's another book of knowledge that doesn't really add much. There's so many of them, millions and millions. So it's important to make a difference in everyday life for people.
And your information does make a difference. Perhaps you can explain to the audience your thoughts on the difference of the soul, the mind, and the conscious. Or rather, the soul, the conscious, and then the mind.
Oh, we're tackling the big ones. So the soul perhaps is the inner core of a human being that is preserved. What do we mean by that? Well, let's say that is beyond space and time, because we now know from science, from quantum mechanics, that space and time themselves are not primary. And the mind, I would say, skipping consciousness, I would say the mind is part of consciousness, is the conscious awareness. And the mind, of course, generally when we write with small m, we mean the human mind. But we believe that actually the human mind is much bigger than what we think of it as a human mind. And that would be consciousness.
Correct. And through this book, you answer many questions. You answer what came before the Big Bang Theory, what does the universe fit together, how does the universe fit together so perfectly, where did time come from? And you're tackling all these questions that people are always asking about to really understand their purpose and what we're doing here on Earth.
So these questions are very old, very ancient. We're not the first ones to discover them or even ask those questions. We're really asking questions primarily I have to say that the answers we provide are primarily a methodology, as we say in Greek, methodology of science rather than say, okay, this is the absolute answer. And this methodology brings back experience as a fundamental aspect of reality, experience of every human being. And you may say, well, does it mean that once a human being disappears and the experiences associated with a particular human being, does the universe end? We say the universe for that particular person disappears. And we say, well, okay, but it exists for billions of other people. Yes, it does. So we're talking about the collective consciousness, the collective mind. What sometimes we call the meta-mind, the mind beyond the mind. And this is what we're talking about. And this comes out of quantum mechanics, actually. So it's actually based on hardcore, quote-unquote, hardcore physics.
What type of message do you want to deliver to the reader? What would you like the reader to take with them after reading this book?
So the message to the general reader is, you are that, you are it, okay? Take that as granted, enjoy your life, but you still have responsibility. You have responsibility, first of all, to yourself, to be true to yourself, and you have responsibility to the immediate family, your children, your spouse, your parents, your family. As you know, we Greeks are closely tied.
Very,
at least we used to.
Yes.
I'm not sure how it's changing now. To our families, to your friends, and be true to yourself, and then expand from that to spread the message that really we are one.
Do you believe that in antiquity, this type of philosophy, rather, and this type of education was offered to the community and perhaps help people grow as human beings?
It was offered, and of course this was the whole point of Socrates and his discourse with his students, and of course it was the purpose of Plato's Academy that was set up officially, of course, or regularly as the first, if you like, the first school of teacher-student training. Of course, before that we had the Pythagoreans, but let's say the most formal one was the Academy. It was funded by an Athenian called Academos, and so Academy really came from a private donor, more or less like we have a lot in this country now. And the idea was to study physics and metaphysics. In other words, study the world and the principles, the eternal principles beyond the world.
As you are doing today with the wonderful Deepak Chopra.
Yes, we do today, and in fact, as science does all the time, because science, after all, is examination primarily of the universe, primarily of the outside world. But of course, scientists never stop asking the question, particularly in psychology and mental sciences, what constitutes the mental realm of a human being, how is that related to the world, what are our thoughts, et cetera, et cetera. These are all questions. There's nothing really new here.
Yes.
It's just again a methodology, a new way.
It's just resurfacing again.
It's re-remembering. It's remembering.
Afipnisi.
It's afipnisi, exactly. Afipnisi. Because if there is a sin in the universe, it's the one of forgetfulness, forgetting who we really are. Yeah.
And why do you think people are disconnected today? I mean, there is a movement towards awareness now. People are interested. They're searching for knowledge, and things are a little different today. But there was a time, and there still is this disconnection. Why do you think that is?
Well, so it actually goes back to fundamental aspects of reality. In order for us to experience ourselves, we have to step back and see the other person as a separate being. Simple as that. We call that fundamental awareness of the other or the object. Of course, for me, you're the object, and I am the object for you. Mm-hmm. So for sentient beings, human beings, the object and subject go back and forth. But if we're looking at a rock, how much does the rock look back? We don't know really. Or let's say an amoeba or an ant.
Action, reaction, but you are experiencing whether there is a reaction.
You're experiencing it, and with human beings it's much easier to see, and of course with, as I said, with things that are a little bit perhaps different scales of our understanding. And the inanimate world, it's not as obvious, but it's still there.
So as Plato said, and Aristotle argued, there is the illusion of this reality and our fight as humans to finish from this earth materialistic plane and get into the other dimension plane. And Aristotle argued, no, we need to be in this plane, in the now, and we need to experience, again, the action and the reaction. What is it that we can tell people to help them understand a little bit about their existence?
So I would refer back to Aristotle and Aristoteles and Plato. I would say they were both right.
Exactly.
And they were both wrong. But, you know, actually they were both right in the sense that, yes, Aristotle, when he says present now, forget about the future or where you may be, it's true. You know, because we always chase a chimera,
Well, he did believe in the future. He said, Vesto avreo.
Yeah, he believed in the future. And whereas Plato said, well, the whole thing is an illusion. Now, we have to be careful with the word illusion because, and also that comes from India, and people misunderstand that term quite often. We think that illusion means it doesn't exist. It's like a magician, that somehow it doesn't really exist what you see there. You see a building and the magician makes it disappear.
Exactly.
We don't really mean that. It just means that the idea of a separate existence is an illusion. The illusion of life as we live it is that the world out there and us, myself. And if you follow that, in the end, it's just really just you and the world. And it's very lonely. The universe is very lonely.
As they say, your world.
Yeah.
We all have our world.
We do have our own world.
But we all are connected.
But we're all connected. And then, I mean, the main point of You Are the Universe is to realize that we're all connected. And that actually comes out from science. So it's hardcore science, it's hardcore physics comes out of the role of the observer, the participatory universe we live in.
You go into some, the basic knowledge of dimensions and et cetera and so on.
We do.
You deliver it in a more
for
simple, I hate using the word simple, but an easier way to understand.
For everyday life, because I firmly believe that if science does not serve the people, it's not there to serve the people, then it's another useless amount of knowledge that we just collect.
What do you think humans can do to perhaps live in more peace, unison, and to be more connected?
The first thing that I believe, and I'm talking about myself, you know, I'm not going to tell everybody else how to live their lives, but perhaps the best way or the easiest way or the most rewarding way is to realize that first of all, you're not alone, we're not alone. Whatever we feel, and we call that the three laws in the universe that we describe in the book. So this particular one is called the second law, the law of recursion. Whatever you feel, somebody else is feeling. If you're high, if you're very happy, somebody else is feeling happy. If you're very distraught and really you feel like the world is going to end, well, somebody else is also feeling that. So it's not so bad, you know. Connect with other people. But I would say the main thing, and that comes, of course, from time immemorial, from all the spiritual practice. I mean spiritual, I don't mean in a metaphysical way, I mean in a very practical way here on earth. Because what happens afterwards, who knows, you know. So here on earth, I would say live an ethical life. Live a life that is true to you, to the people around you, and spread goodness in the world. Just do that. And if you do that, you are a good human being. And you know what? That's pretty much what it is.
So one should spread the light to the other, and the world
and to ourselves.
Should enlighten each other and
enlighten each other and really assist each other, because in fact we are here on earth to assist each other. We're not here to kill each other.
Exactly. At least we're not born to kill each other, but things happen.
Things happen.
Victims of environments, as we were saying earlier.
Yes,
I know you don't like the word victim, but
yeah, the word victim is because it should be empowering. Victim means, oh, well, I lost my power. Well, your power is always there. It's just how you decide to use it or not to use it.
What would you tell people to empower themselves?
First of all, to empower to be in the present. He was a great teacher of the East, Lao Tse, you know, famous,
yes.
Of course, Chinese philosopher, who said, if you feel regret, you're living in the past. If you feel anxiety, you live in the future. And if you are present, and if you're happy, then you are present, you are now.
You are now.
So I would say live the now, because in fact, at the end of the day, there's only the now.
And adjust to the situation?
Adjust, it doesn't
change the situation?
We are co-participants. The quantum universe tells us that anything out there does not exist without us participating. It doesn't mean, again, that if Menas Kafatos disappears, the universe disappears. But it just means that we are co-creators of reality. Accept that, and then start seeing ourselves not as victims, but as co-creators.
You are of Greek descent, and you travel to Greece
very often.
Very often. And you've seen the outcome of the Greek financial crisis, what it's done to the citizens. What would you tell Greek society today to help them perhaps create or empower themselves, like we were just saying?
I've given many interviews in Greece, newspapers, TV. The message is the same always: stop blaming each other. It's amazing how this great civilization, how these great people with the Greeks, the Hellenists, how we keep blaming each other. The enemy, our worst enemy is ourselves. Not that we don't have external enemies, we do have a lot of them. But really, if we're united and if we understand what the true Greek spirit is, then we cannot be defeated. Leonidas with 300 almost defeated the army of, the Persian army of Xerxes, right? He did. And then
power of the mind, power of belief.
The power of belief. And then Alexander with 30,000, he defeated the Darius army of 1 million people. That was amazing, right? Mm. But today, it's not a matter of conquering each other, but it's a matter of conquering the inner enemies, which are wrong understanding, lust, enmity, anger. Those are the enemies we have to conquer.
Dr. Kafatos is spreading love and light along with Deepak Chopra. Tell us about your experience working with Deepak Chopra.
It's a very good experience. We're friends, and we wrote this book together. It took us more than a year to write it, and of course back and forth, and we had to find a book, and the editors of Random House were very, very helpful in that, to find a book, to create a book that would be meaningful, and people would pick it up and say, oh, okay, I want to read this book, and after you read it, you say, okay, I got something out of this, rather than another book you put on your bookcase, So that was the purpose of the book, and we're very happy. I believe we have what probably turned out to be a good book.
You Are the Universe. Pick it up. It's on Amazon. It's everywhere. It is a #1 seller. It just came on the market, and it's getting sold out. You Are the Universe. Wonderful lessons of spirituality and science combined to help you live a better internal life. Thank you, Menas, for being with us, and we look forward to reading your book and having you back again.
Thanks so much.